Adam, what are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to get the arrow to the target. I want to hit the target, but I just can't seem to get it there.
Well, to hit a target that far away requires a lot more strength than most people have. But there's something you should use, something called a bow. It's perfectly made for this.
That sounds like a great idea. Much better compared to what I've been doing.
Yes. Let me tell you more about the bow and the sport of archery that we like to teach about here at Wahsega. Hi everyone, I'm David Weber, the Center Director here at Wahsega 4-H Center. I'm excited to teach you more about archery today. This is a common class that we lead here if you can come to the Wahsega 4-H Center. Archery has been around since prehistoric times. People have used it to harvest game, for food, and for warfare. Since those prehistoric times when people used handmade bows and arrows, now archery is still very popular. It was reintroduced in the Olympics in 1972, and it's been an official sport for men and women since then. Now let's learn a little bit more about the bow and arrow.
I'm currently holding one of the bows that students use here at Wahsega 4-H Center. Bows are one of the earliest known mechanical devices used to launch projectiles. And since their invention, they evolved a lot to be more accurate and more powerful. What I'm currently holding is a compound bow. Compound bows utilizes a system of cables and pulleys to make pulling the bow back easier without sacrificing much power. Whenever I pull the bow back, I am creating what is known as elastic potential energy. If I was to release this string, that elastic potential energy would become kinetic energy and would be transferred to the form of a projectile, or in this case, an arrow. So let's take a moment to look at the bow, learn about its parts, and the parts of an arrow. So let's go over some of the important anatomical parts of the bow. We have our upper and our lower limb. We have our grip, which you hold with your non-dominant hand. We have the arrow rest, which is what the arrow rests on. The sight window, which is what you use to help aim. This right here is the string, which helps create all that elastic potential energy. And then right here, we have the nocking point, which is where we nock our arrows. And on our compound bows at Wahsega 4-H Center, we nock below the nocking point. Next, we have our arrow, which has the arrow tip. We have our shaft, which this is what lies on the arrow rest. We have the crest, and then we have our fletchings, which they have two that are the same color and one that is different color. And the one that is a different color is facing out away from the bow. And then we have our nock, which is where we nock our arrow on our string, which is below the nocking point. So let's go check out some of the ways that we're going to be using these bows to shoot.
Okay, now that we know the basic anatomy of the bow and arrow, I want to go over a couple common errors archers first make when they start this sport. One is you never want to do what is called a dry fire. This is when you pull back on the string and you let go of the string without ever loading an arrow. When this happens, the kinetic energy that's released has nowhere to go and will go back into the bow and cause the limbs to fracture and the string can break. A second thing you want to watch out for is when you do load the arrow, make sure you're nocking it right under the nocking point. This will produce the best aim and the best results. Also, when you're loading your arrow, make sure you have the odd colored fletching pointing you. You see on my arrow here, I've got two pinks and one white fletching. So when I load it, I want that white fletching facing me. Otherwise, when you release it, the arrow will go off course and you might damage your arrow because the fletching will hit and graze the bow.
There are many different ways to shoot a bow, but this is one of the methods we use at Wahsega 4-H Center. And I'm also wearing an arm guard to help protect myself from the string whenever I release it. So for shooting a bow, the method we teach is you're going to use your index finger, your pointer finger, and your ring finger. Your index finger is going to go above the nocking point, whereas your other two fingers are going to go below. You're not going to grip the string, you're just going to be using your fingertips, and we're going to be using the sight window to aim down at the target. You're going to stand parallel to the target, and your feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. Whenever you knock the arrow, you're going to knock it below the nocking point, making sure that the odd color fletching is facing towards you. You're going to pull all the way back to your nose or to your cheek, and then you're going to release the string in a fluid motion. Wow, David, I got it!
Nice job, Adam. You've really learned the sport of archery. Hey, do you want me to put a little balloon in the center of the target to make it more exciting?
That sounds like so much fun. Let's give it a try. Yeah! First time! I'm really excited to show all the students that come to Wahsega 4-H Center archery.
Agreed, Adam. And thank you all for joining us at Wahsega for archery. We can't wait to see you here soon.